Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 38 of the Old Men Magic podcast. Alex, it is Sunday, April 30th, 2023, and it is time for another episode of everybody's favorite Magic the Gathering podcast on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify. If you'd like to show support, please give us a like, please subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. Today, we have some MTG Finance news to discuss. We're going to review some of our favorite budget cards from the 90s set Visions, and we're going to continue to build our first ever Old Frame Commander decks. But first, I want to talk about an LGS visit, Alex. I don't have any follow-ups today. No follow-ups to last episode, so we're gonna start off with something else little. When we first started this podcast and we first started getting back into Magic, I was like, I need some damn lands, man. Some basic lands. I'm not even talking dual lands. I'm talking basic lands.
Yeah.
When I sold all my cards, mostly in the early 2000s, that's when I offloaded most of them. I didn't keep anything except for some rares. So I really ditched all my commons, and I definitely ditched all of my lands. So when I wanted to start building decks again, I had no basic lands. So that means in order to start building like some pre-modern decks, I had to order lands online, which isn't bad because I would order some TCG Player and, you could get free shipping. A lot of the time I could find some of the lands I wanted. I'm looking specifically for basic lands from like pre-modern sets like Tempest, Mirage, Urza's Block, stuff like that. Trying to think if any other sets around that time had lands. I will also accept revised lands. And you can find those on TCG Player a lot of places, depending on the specific land you're looking for, depending on the condition. You get them for like a quarter to 50 cents a piece. Not that bad. But unfortunately, most places they'll post to just like one at a time, two at a time, three at a time. So I can't get more than just a few lands at a time. It's very irritating. If I want to get a big delivery of lands, then I usually have to pay shipping because there'll be a ton offered by places that aren't like part of the TCG Direct system. So I don't want to pay like $1.50 or $3 to get basic lands shipped to me. It's driving me crazy. So I started driving around to like LGSs here in town. And the LGSs these days are way different than they were when we used to go, Alex. Nobody has binders for me to dig through. Very few of them have like long boxes out of like cheap cards to rifle through. And really they don't have that many lands. Every place I went to, I asked for basic lands. It was all modern stuff. All modern stuff. I don't want modern lands. I want old border lands from
me too.
Pre-modern sets or revised.
And I agree. I haven't seen those in stores either.
I went to a new LGS. I was just driving around. I was running some errands after work, and I was on a different side of town. I decided to like pull out my phone, type in Magic the Gathering, see if there was anywhere close by. And there was a new place close by that I hadn't gone to before. And I went in the shop. It's very small. They mostly sold video games. And then they had like a couple little cases with Magic the Gathering and Pokemon. And then like a third of the store was just these stupid Funko Pops. These I can't figure out. Talk about blowing money. There's no way in hell these things are going to be worth money, right? In the future. This has to be like a Beanie Baby situation, right? Am I right?
I would be inclined to agree.
They're almost too mainstream. If you look at the stuff that people blow money on, when your parents are like, why you wasting money on that shit? That actually ends up being worth money like 20 years later. It's the stuff that like the hardcore nerds are into. It's the underground stuff. It's the niche stuff. Funko Pops, not that stuff, man.
It builds a following, and then people can't get it later, and they want to pay more money for it later. Like things like out of print board games.
Yes.
Or like, but yeah, I think I know what you were saying is they make a million Funko Pops and like
there's a Funko Pop for every damn thing. Post Malone has a Magic card. He probably has 1,700 Funko Pops. And add every other pop star in the world too, Funko Pops.
Yeah.
But I looked around for a little bit. They had some cool stuff in the case. They had some legends. I was like, oh, they must have just got a legends buy. They had a Moat, they had a Eureka, they had a Gwendolyn. Three things that I really want from legends. They had 2 Tetsuos. They had some other stuff too. I looked around for a little bit and I finally walked up to some employee. I was like, I'm looking for something kind of unusual. I doubt you'll have them. Like, I'm playing this format that nobody really plays called Premodern. It's, fourth edition to Scourge. I'm looking for some of the lands. And he looked at me and he's like, oh, so you want to have like lands that are from like the same era of the deck you build? You want to have like that era. You want to have lands from that era to suit the aesthetics of the deck. I'm like, yeah, exactly.
Uh-huh.
He's like, this is just a place for you. He was apparently like a new employee, and they have a bunch of old stuff in the back that nobody like ever went through. And he's like, I love this old stuff. I've been going through all the old cheap cards, the cards that nobody was paying attention to, the lands and the commons, and I've been sorting through them. So he brought me out a whole box, like a double road box, just of lands from like Ice Age through Urza's. So I got a fat stack, Alex.
Oh, look at that.
I got a fat stack.
Did you get some unlimiteds?
I got a fat stack of pre-modern lands.
It's got a blackboard. I see some Mirage, maybe some Mirage in there.
There's Mirage. There's Tempest. I got Tempest Forests. So these are going to look really good for when I build the rock.
Oh.
Black, green, Tempest Forest. I got some plains also from Tempest. These are the dark, moody plains. These are going to look really good when I build Dead Gael.
The spooky plains.
I got some of these pink mountains from Urza's block.
Oh yeah, I like these.
These are going to look really good when I build Pink Weenie, Red White. Pink Weenie.
Good Lord.
I didn't buy any unlimited, but he also had a limited. He said in addition to that, we had some guy come in and sell us like his old vintage collection, and then included like just rows and rows of what looked to me to be mostly like pristine, at least light play or better, commons and cheap uncommons from Unlimited and the Four Horsemen set.
Oh,
so there was a lot of stuff. I got to go back. I got to get a couple Gazban Ogres. I got to get a couple Kumbaj Witches. Ooh. And I got to pick up some cheap Unlimited stuff.
Yeah, that sounds sweet.
I did get, what did I get in Unlimited?
I'll take a road trip. Let's go.
Oh, I got an Ironclaw Orc.
Oh yeah, you see that.
Yeah. But they did have unlimited lands too. So yeah, I got to go back, and they only charged me 25 cents for each one. I was like, I'll take that all day, every day, because some of these lands, the specific lands that I want, you get them on TCG Player for 25 cents. But there are a lot, if they're like the art variant that people like the most, there are a lot that people want to charge you like $1 for or 75 cents for.
Yeah, just because like I said, stock or like there's not many of them up for sale. Yeah. Plus, with land, it's like you have to worry. It's the commons. Same problem with commons. You have to worry that they're going to be in good condition, and the seller actually cares. It doesn't just send you some beat up lands.
Yeah, I get to go through these. I get to
you get to see them yourself.
Stuff
Even
that's
if
not beat up.
25 cents a piece, it adds up. If you can be like, oh, near mint.
So that's sweet. I was excited about that.
I am too. That's cool.
I got to go back. It was a fruitful LGS visit.
Well, congratulations.
I've been thinking about that Eureka a lot too, Alex, to be honest. I looked at the price spikes of the Eureka, and I don't think it really went insane like a lot of cards did, post-COVID. It's definitely higher than it was, but looking at where it was, like pre-COVID, it's not one of those cards that is still like selling for 3 times what it was selling for before. So
spiked less and then less.
I think it's settled down probably to about a fair price. I think they're going for like, you see them near mint, I don't even look at near mint. Light play on TCG Player for around 400, 450 now. Every once in a while, one of them shows up cheaper.
I thought they were.
Inflation too, Alex. You got to consider that. But anyways,
that's cool.
LGS visit. I will be going back to that place. I was pumped.
Yeah, that's cool. I have a quick follow-up.
Okay.
I was talking about changing creature types again. Remember how we talked about the changelings and stuff like that? I've been looking for cards that can change creature types of another card. I was going through some comments here and stuff, and randomly found a few things, and I realized they were all from Onslaught. I won't really get into these now because we have some other stuff to talk about. And I think there's enough of them that I might actually do another segment on it.
Okay.
But what I found was when I started looking in Onslaught, there's apparently, this was like a thing in Onslaught. Like half the blue cards in the set revolve around changing creature types.
Okay, spit it out. What's the name of that card? What's the name of that piece of
Oh,
cardboard you got
this
in
is
your hand?
called Image Crafter.
Image
You can
craft.
see that. He's
Never heard
one
of it.
blue, 1/1. He's just a little 1 blue, 1/1, and you can tap him to target creature's type becomes that type. Sorry, I'll let you. You're looking up. It'll be faster.
Yeah. Well, no, you can read it. I'm pulling it up for the watchers.
1 blue, 1/1. Creature wizard. The other thing is there's a ton of wizards in this set. It's very wizard themed, and there's a lot of synergy with this changing creature type and having a bunch of wizards out that do stuff.
Do they fly?
Yes, some of them do, and some of them can. Yeah. So, anyways, you tap him, and it says choose a creature type other than legend or wall. Target creature's type becomes that type until end of turn.
Okay.
I like this card. It's one of the better ones I saw. Some were kind of janky, but I'll get to some of the other ones. But this was one of my favorites because you get a little 1/1, and you can just keep changing creature types. You know, maybe I can debuff one of your goblins. You know, maybe I can, do all sorts of things with it. It's pretty cool. Yeah, make something now work with Corona.
That's not bad.
Tribal buff.
Not bad at all.
If you have some creature that you really need to use in a tribal deck, now you can make it work with the goblins or the zombies or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So anyways, yeah, we'll come back to that maybe. But for some reason, it's a big thing in Onslaught, and I just learned that.
Yeah. Could you use this? I wonder if you could use this. We were talking about Gem Palm Polluter the other day. And the cards that you can use in zombie decks to just keep bringing him back and cycling him to do direct damage to your opponent. Like Unholy Grotto or Lord of the Undead, things that bring zombies specifically back. Like if you have cards like that where somebody's like, I have a zombie in my graveyard, I want to bring him back with this other card that returns zombies from the graveyard to my hand. You can change him from a zombie to something else so they can't recur.
I don't think it would work on him in the graveyard.
Are you serious?
I think since it says target creature's type, I assume that means creature on the battlefield, creature in play.
But if the graveyard is, it doesn't say on the battlefield.
I wouldn't rule it out completely. It's possible. It's not my first instinct, but
we'll think about that.
Yeah,
we'll think about it. Okay. Maybe a future segment on the Old Man Magic podcast. For now, we're going to go into our first main segment of the day. Segment 2, titled Visions has some killer comments. So we're going to talk about some really good budget cards from a set that was released in our playing heyday, Alex, Visions. There are 62 commons in the set Visions. Today, we're going to discuss some of my favorites. We've already talked about some of them in the End of the Battlefield episode. I think we talked about Shrieking Drake and Man of War, so we won't go back to those and revisit them today. But there's still plenty. Out of these 62 commons, I don't know, man. I think back in the day, if I were to think about like the sets we played with, there's no set that has better commons than Visions, in my opinion. We're talking expansions. I don't know about the sets that have been released since then, but
it was an upswing in power from like a very low era of power before it. When like Mirage and Visions came out, they like restored like some, fun power to the game.
We're Fallen Empires and Ice Age kids. Oh, this reminds me. When I was at the LGS and I was asking about the old stuff and he was telling me about, some recent buys they made, I was like, oh, I need to come back. He goes, we also have some old booster packs, but just not that many. And I go, from what sets? And he goes, from Fallen Empires. And he kind of laughed when he said it. And I was like, oh my, I have PTSD from opening Fallen Empires booster packs.
I don't know if I ever want to go back down that road.
But anyway,
it's like negative nostalgia, I'll like open it and like get that sinking feel. Be like, oh, I remember why.
It gets me upset. Ice Age, I don't have such a negative feeling about, but Ice Age, the problem is there were strong cards in Ice Age and there were fun cards in Ice Age, but it was so big.
Yeah, so it was a little more random what you got, and you wouldn't get like the same stinker packs over and over again.
Yeah. I'd imagine it was like opening up packs of Legends, but the highs in Ice Age were nowhere near the highs in Legends.
Right. Fallen Empires had really small pack size too, and I don't know if that had gone. I think that went up again by Ice Age.
Okay, I don't
But I
remember
think
that.
Fallen
Not in
Empires
memory.
was just like 8 cards or something dumb.
Could be. Back to Visions.
Back to Visions.
The first budget killer common from Visions I want to discuss is River Boa. Everybody probably knows River Boa. River Boa is 1 colorless, 1 green. It is a 2/1 summon snake. It has Island Walk, and you can pay 1 green to regenerate River Boa. Of all the walks, I think Island Walk is the top walk to have, because I mean it's probably the most played color, right? If not the most played, I guarantee it's one of the top 2 most played colors.
Yeah.
You're going to run into
Yeah.
a lot of people that has some blue on their side of the board.
Yes. And in that era too, like blue was very powerful and relevant. People played a lot of blue, I guess they always do, but blue defensive decks, like stasis-y kind of things and blue control decks and things like that. So this was a great way to get past some blockers, and he's so cheap and he regenerates. He's a good blocker.
He's a good blocker also. That's the other thing.
Yeah, I played with Riverboa a lot.
Constantly.
He was pretty much an auto include in green.
I didn't draft in this environment, but I'd imagine this was like a killer draft card.
Yeah, this would be sweet in
Found
draft.
this card, you take a River Boa. The other thing is, I don't like land walk abilities all that much, but if you're gonna have land walk in 1 color, I like it in green because, as you know, Alex, green comes with all sorts of pump spells. So if you can get through with a green creature and then giant growth, berserk, forget about it. River Boa has a 4.427 rating on Gather.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
He deserves it. I believe it.
I agree.
Good Boa.
The next killer common.
Looks happy.
The next killer common in Visions, Alex.
Oh.
It's Fire Blast.
Ciao.
Everybody probably knows Fire Blast too, right? Let me see how many. It was just reprinted in Dominator Remastered. They're still reprinting this card to this day. Cool. Holy crap! I'm looking at this. Is it true that Fire Blast had never been reprinted until now, like until recently? Dominator Remastered, Visions, all the way to Dominator Remastered. Maybe they felt like it was too powerful, and for a while maybe they felt like they made a mistake when they printed this card.
You mean just outside of those like dual decks and?
I don't really count these things.
Yeah.
This Friday night.
Is there another set?
You can't. No, you can't.
Okay, that's okay.
World Championship deck, Premium Deck Series, Dual Decks, and Friday Night Promo.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting. They just
But
brought
still,
it back.
Everybody knows it, even though it's obviously hasn't been reprinted that often.
Mm-hmm.
Fire Blast is 4 colorless, 2 red. It's an instant. You may sacrifice 2 mountains instead of paying Fire Blast's casting cost. So this is a beast of a card.
Mm-hmm.
It's direct damage. It has good reach. By that I mean it can nail. I always think of Sarah Angel. This can blow a Sarah Angel out of the sky when Lightning Bolt could not. This can blow a Sengir Vampire out of the sky when Lightning Bolt cannot. So that's a big deal. The other thing is it turns like it turns 2 mountains essentially into a better than a Lightning Bolt.
Yeah.
With 2 mountains in play, you can convert those 2 mountains into more direct damage than a Lightning Bolt. So I don't know how many, I never really played red decks back in the day, but this really revolutionized the red deck. It made the red deck from a strong deck to something that was nearly impossible to deal with when somebody built it and played it correctly. Because normally red deck, you have turn 1, you can Lightning Bolt somebody. They're down to 17 damage. Let's say turn 2, or 17 life. Let's say turn 2, you Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning them. Then they're down to 11 life. Turn 3, you play your Ball Lightning. Turn 4, you sack 2 mountains to a Fire Blast and you Lightning Bolt them, and the game's over.
Yeah.
Red decks were already fast. This made the red deck insanely fast and insanely difficult to deal with and kind of annoying. And also, some people love this kind of Magic, but I'm like, come on, that's too basic. That's why I was never a tournament player. So my goal in Magic wasn't really to ever, I know this is the main, my goal in Magic when I sit down to play is never really to reduce my opponent to 0 life in the shortest number of turns
Yeah, I
possible.
know
That
what you
might
mean.
sound, that might sound really stupid, but
I know what you mean. You're not trying to like maximize efficiency at all costs. Like it's like
yes,
an efficient deck, but it's also based around an idea and something that looks fun.
I like to have a fun deck that is fun for me to play, a deck with a certain theme, and I like to take that deck and to make it as efficient as possible. I don't necessarily like to play
Yeah.
the most efficient deck as possible,
Mhm.
but this card made the red deck like
I don't
the
like to
most
play.
efficient deck in of its era, I think.
I never thought of this card. I guess it just might just be because I haven't thought of it in so long, but I never thought of it as having like that big of an impact immediately at the time because I always thought like red was already strong. Like
It was already strong, yeah.
but I take your point that it changes the pay. I mean, forget about even the sacking the mountains thing. Having a 4 damage spell instead of a 3 damage spell is cool. It changes the pace and like the arithmetic of like how much damage you need to get rid of certain creatures and finish someone off. I like it because it's a great finisher move. Like they think you're like tapped out. They're trying to plan how to use their counter spells or whatever, and they think you're tapped out and you can do 4 more, not just 3 but 4 more damage. So that's pretty, like you said, if you want to go all in on direct damage, this would fill up another 4 card slot in your red like heat deck very nicely, and it would boost the level of the deck up from what it was available before.
I was going to say, I wonder if this card was in World Championship decks, right around the time it came out, and there's this right here.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah,
98.
Yep.
When did when was Visions released? 97. Let me do some Googling here on my other computer. This is the part of the segment of the podcast where we look to see when Visions was released. February 3rd, 1997. So
okay.
Yeah. It definitely made an impact right away. And by the next year it was in a World Championship deck. I wish I could see the entire composition of this World Championship deck. Let me do that. Let me do some Googling.
Let me do that.
Whose deck was that, Alex?
Ben Rubin.
Ben Rubin, 1998. Here we go.
Wastelands.
I'm digging Ben Rubin's choice of basics. Mountains from Tempest. This might just be because this was a draft tournament or something, for all I know. This is what
Wastelands. I know you like that too.
But actually, yeah, he could have used 5th edition Mountains. He didn't. He chose Tempest. Good job, Ben. Mountains, Wasteland, Ball Lightning, Gobos, Ironclaw Orcs, baby.
Yeah, look at that.
Jackal Pups, Mog Fanatics, Mog Flunkies, Viashina Standstalkers, Cursed Scroll.
Yep.
4 Fire Blasts, 4 Incinerate. So there's no lightning bolts. This isn't a lightning
crazy. No fireball type spells.
It has to be the format of the tournament, I'm sure. Because why wouldn't you include? There's no way you would include Incinerate but not lightning bolt.
If 5th edition gone, was lightning bolt gone from 5th edition?
That's right. So they do have a base set here because he has ball lightning from 5th edition.
So because lightning bolt was in 4th edition, but I don't know if here's more Googling for us. Sorry, guys. I don't know if I'll be able to find this easily because there's so many versions of lightning bolt. I remember when it went out of print. I see revised in 4th edition here, but I don't see a 5th edition one immediately.
This says eBay somebody selling 2 5th edition lightning bolts.
Oh, okay.
It could also be just labeling them incorrectly. I would be weird if they would ever take lightning bolt out of the core set, right?
I don't know. Have they eventually?
I don't think so. Lightning bolt. We could do lightning bolt on MTG stocks, right?
Oh yeah, there you go. That'd be smarter.
Where were you looking?
TCG player.
It just has 4th edition.
Yeah. Okay. It might be out of order though. It might be.
No, it's alphabetical order.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I sort of thought I had a memory of them taking it out, but
Really?
was-
They've removed like I don't see it in 8th, 9th, 10th. I don't see it in anything. They don't print
Yeah.
lightning bolt any longer, really? Well, here's in a double masters. They'll print it
They
in an
brought it
extra.
back, yeah, but they took. I'm
Okay.
just saying they took it out for a while at that
Okay.
point.
So I think that answers our question. I think the reason he wasn't running lightning bolts and he was running incinerates is because
Yeah, that's a tournament format thing. I noticed
Yeah.
Pyroblast, which is also a 4 damage spell, right? Or is it 3?
2 damage.
Oh, 2 damage. Okay, I knew it
Yeah.
was. I thought it was off, like not the normal 3.
That's a sideboard card if he's playing any swarm decks.
Final
Bring in
Fortune in the
Pyroblast.
sideboard. I wonder what that's about.
Yeah, that is weird. Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, he has 4 incinerates, and remember, incinerate was big because
Mhm.
it allowed you to get 4 more lightning bolts in your deck, more or less, for more mana. But
Yeah,
I
but
don't
now
know
in this case,
flunkies.
I don't either.
Is Goblin Vandal's artifact destruction, I think.
What's a mod flunky?
Yeah, look him up.
I know I
Goblin
looked at these
Goblin Vandal
recently.
destroys artifacts.
when I was going through all the goblins. I know I pulled up mod flunky. Can't attack or block alone. Okay.
Okay,
2 mana, 3/3. Can't attack or block alone.
not bad.
But you just got to make sure you get something else out.
Yeah,
Have your jackal pop
for a
out.
red aggro deck, it's not. That's not.
Yeah. You're
Plus, with
probably
Bog
getting,
Fanatics, like then. I think those 2 cards synergize kind of well together.
yeah.
You send out like suicide waves, kind of maybe.
Yeah. How many mana is Goblin Vandal? It's not a
1.
1-drop, right?
Yeah, 1 red,
Oh,
and he has a 1
Okay.
red activated ability: destroy target artifact defending player controls. He deals no combat damage. Use it only if he is unblocked.
Okay, so you have 4 1-drop red creatures, and then you got your mod flunkies.
Yeah.
The Viashina Sandstalker, if I remember correctly, that would come back. That could come back to you, right?
I only remember him a little bit.
I think it could come back to you for like 3 mana or something. I think he was a ball lightning like. Viashina Sandstalker, 1 colorless, 2 red, haste. At end of turn, return Viashina Sandstalker to its owner's hand.
Okay, yeah. So he's an automatically
Or 2.
boomeranging ball lightning.
Okay, yeah. Okay, his 3 is his casting cost. Okay, I should put this deck together. It's probably fun to play.
Yeah.
And this is you can.
What are bottle gnomes? Sounds familiar.
It has a weird ability
Going
to
off on a
like
tangent here.
change mana color. I think.
You can sacrifice them to gain 3 life. They're 3
Oh.
colorless, 1/3.
I was totally wrong. You gain 3 life. Okay, maybe you figure if you play another, you're playing another fast deck.
Yeah. And you have to
Maybe
go
you
on
just bring in the
defense a
bottle
little bit.
gnomes to buy you an extra turn or 2, and if you get that extra turn or 2, you can wipe them out.
Right, yeah. And it would go well again with like, the suicide wave sort of thing. You'd send it out with some
Mhm.
of your Mog flunkies, and it doesn't matter if they die because you gain 3 life.
But anyways, the Fire Blast, man.
Yeah.
And it was in a World Championship deck already. Really, the first year it came out. Although I don't know for sure if Ben won the World Championship. Because what they do when they put out these World Championship decks is they always put out,
Like the top
Like
2
the
people.
top- I think like the top 4 or something, maybe.
Oh, okay.
Anyways, that's still pretty darn good.
Yeah.
You still made it far.
Yeah.
But I love Fire Blast. It's a great card. I am putting together my first. I never played a red deck back in the day, but I have partially built a Premodern red deck. And yes, it does have 4 Fire Blasts in it. Red decks are cheap, man. That's the other thing I love about red. It's not my favorite way to play, but if you're tired of losing all the time and you don't have a bunch of money to buy all the expensive cards that your friends have,
Yeah. Make it
put together a red deck
GP
and then
deck, yeah.
and then you laugh at them when their $500 deck keeps getting, not laugh at them, be nice still, but it's your friends. You can, screw with each other every once in a while. Laugh in their faces because their $500 deck keeps losing to your $25 red
It's
deck.
how a heat goblin and heat deck
Yes.
back in the day or whatever, something like that. I don't usually like playing a deck, I think, that has like just like a real simple overall design that's like just one thing, like just heat, if I look at the deck list and it's in these blocks that are just like, there's no real like decision on how to build the deck or what, like how to tweak it. It's just going to be kind of like all these direct damage spells. I'm like kind of bored by that. So I want to like staple something else onto it. I want to make it like a hybrid deck that's like mostly heat with something else. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You want to do it in a weird way.
Yeah.
Not that there's no skill to building like a perfect red deck, though. There definitely is.
Oh
I
yeah,
could
and
go to
this
red
deck
deck, yeah.
we just looked at, that was like creative. It had like some cool card ideas in there, and there was obviously some, some amount of thought put into it. I thought it was interesting. It wasn't just
There's
a
more
deck.
There's definitely more creativity that needs to go into it when you're in a tournament format that's limited. Like when you have to select from just a certain block. Like as we've seen, he didn't go 4 incinerates, 4 unchained lightnings, 4 lightning bolts, 4 fire blasts, 4 ball lightning. You can't.
Yeah,
that's silly.
All right, well,
that doesn't take as much thought, but
we should get to the next card. We have lots of vision cards to do.
Quirion Ranger. Quirion Ranger is the next killer common from Visions. That is cheap.
Awesome.
I'm hoping all these are commons. I really think they are. Casting cost 1 green, summon elf 1/1. Return a forest you control to owner's hand to untap target creature. Use this ability only one turn or only once each turn. So, first of all, this card is a great mana amplifier, and this is kind of all I ever used it back in the day, a mana amplifier. Because you can, it doesn't say return an untapped forest to your hand, right? So you can tap a forest, return it to your hand, play it again, tap it, and then also the creature that you untap in a green deck could be a mana producing elf. Mm-hmm. So it's a great mana amplifier for those two reasons: untapping manimals and untapping lands that you can retap. There's so many creatures that you can play in combination with this creature, like nowadays too, that we didn't have back.
Yeah, I know. This card just got better.
I mean, my first thought when I first came back to Magic and I saw Priest of Titania was Priest of Titania. Yeah, that's the elf you could tap to generate a forest for each other elf in play. How much mana can you generate? Also, Well-Wisher, the elf that adds life to your life total for every elf that's in play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, huge. You get to use each of those twice each turn now instead of once, like crazy.
On top of those, any elf that says for each elf in play. I don't know how many are out there right now, but I'm sure that there's a bunch. And Quirion Ranger can untap all of those things. I never did this.
Untap your tracker, Steve.
Yes. Yes, I can untap my tracker. I can untap my tracker and ping my Saber Ants multiple times.
Oh yeah, get the Saber Ants
multiple times.
They'll die though. Then, but that's okay. Shut up, Alex.
Well, not if I have my not if I have out Saber Ants, Keza, and Jacques Laver.
Yeah.
There we go. You don't ruin this for me.
Use Quirion Ranger with Royal Assassin. Kill 2 creatures.
Royal Assassin.
I
never did this back in the day, but I started thinking about it recently. Armageddon and Winter Orb. I have a partially built 10-land Stompy deck. And that's a green deck with a lot of low casting cost, green creatures. And then like cards like Winter Orb. You don't really care if you can't untap more than 1 land because most of the things you're going to do only involve 1 or 2 lands anyways.
Yes.
But this is good for, Winter Orb. You got 2 lands out. They're both tapped. You got the Winter Orb out. You can only untap 1 of those lands. But then you can return 1 of them to your hand and then replay it. And then it's untapped. And then you got your 2 lands untapped. Mm-hmm. So stuff like that. Armageddon, you could also use this to save a land, cast the
Yeah, I like that strat. I didn't think about that like back in the day, I don't think, but yeah, now it's obvious you can use this to like protect your own lands if you have to.
There's probably so many things.
Fill your hand with lands for another reason, like if you have something that you need to discard lands or even just cards from your hand to do. You could pull your unused lands up or extra lands with this guy and use it for that.
We've definitely talked about cards that you need to discard a land to do something with, right? I'm trying to remember what they were. I've forgotten all of them. They're out there. If anybody out there who's listening does something cool with Query on Rager that's not at all along the lines of the things we mentioned already, leave it in the comments, please. I want to know what else to do with Query on Ranger. Query on Ranger has a...
Oh, yeah, like Nantuko Cultivator was one that we talked about recently. We go good with this.
This is going to go on my Nantuko deck.
It's mine. I'm making a cultivator. You can touch my Nantuko Cultivator deck.
When Cultivator comes into play, you may discard any number of land cards from your hand. Put that many +1/+1 counters in Nantuko. Yes. Yes, Al. And draw that many cards. Yes.
Yes.
4.5.
Query on Ranger is great.
4.507 on Gatherer, so the people agree.
Look at how much, I mean, it pays you back so easy, just one green, and then like every turn after that, you know, you can double use a creature. I mean, I guess eventually you're gonna, you know, it starts to catch up to you for returning force to your hand if you don't have a way to get extra lands down. But you know, as long as it's in the right deck, like it's cool. I like it.
Modern Horizons 2 and a World Championship deck. I would have expected this to become more of a staple and to see more reprints.
Yeah.
Huh.
I think they have a fair amount of other things now, maybe too, though, that do kind of similar things.
That's a possibility.
Like untapped creatures for you.
It's a possibility. They probably just made a different elf that you return a force to your hand and then untap 2 creatures. It's like they run out of ideas, but we need to keep selling new cards. So what do? We just take the old cards and we just make it better. So then people want to buy the new packs with a slightly better version. Maybe. Next killer comment from Visions, Alex. This is one that I never really used because I don't tend to play these kind of decks, but it is definitely good. Impulse.
Yeah.
Also recently reprinted and Dominator Remastered.
I remember this card very well.
Impulse is a 1 colorless, 1 blue instant. You look at the top 4 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library. Shuffle your library afterwards, although they've now errated that so you don't get to shuffle your library afterwards. And
really?
Yes.
The shuffle is gone completely?
You no longer shuffle your library. Due to errata, you no longer shuffle your library.
Why they did that, do you know?
I don't know, actually. I swear I heard somebody talking about this and they were like, the shuffling was pointless anyways, but...
Well, they're completely different outcomes.
I know.
I mean, they're totally different. One, the cards go back in your deck randomly, and the other one, they're stuck on the bottom of your deck for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
It says, put them on the bottom in any order. Okay, well, yeah, it says that already. Sorry, my bad.
You could have, in the past, used this when somebody stacked their deck in a very specific way to just make them shuffle it. Let's say they stack their deck to get a combo over the course of like 2 or 3 turns. This would ruin that. It would put one of the cards into their hand because you cast Impulse. It allows them to put one of those cards into the hand, right? So it would essentially be a card draw for them.
Well, no, it's not. You can only use it for you, right?
Look at the top. Oh, darn it! It does say that. Never mind that. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. Put one of them into. I do this all the time. I read a card. I just read it. But like I have an idea of what I want it to do, and even though the card says something different, it just doesn't register in my brain.
Just assuming that it's gonna, like I did that the other day with something I was assuming was gonna affect creatures, and it was not.
Regardless of what I read, like it just still does what I want it to do. That's how my brain works.
The Dominaria remastered art on this card, by the way, it's pretty cool.
I like this set a lot. I think this art was from something else too.
Oh yeah.
Was this ever released as like a Strixhaven? Maybe not. Yeah, I'm not that into this one.
Yeah, that's kind of
version.
Watch out for Angela Lansbury.
Yeah, you new for Dominaria. Sorry, Not due for Dominaria Remastered. It was in Dominaria United originally. Okay, so that's where I had seen it before. I get confused between Dominaria Remastered and Dominaria United also because they both start with Dominaria.
Yes, understand.
Oh, I got to go back to the Visions because we're talking about Visions.
It doesn't say anything about why they changed it. It's so weird though, because it just says on Gather, it says there's like a ruling, and it says due to errata,
Yeah,
the shuffling no longer takes place. I'm like,
that's where I saw that. So, I mean, I think it's good. Again, this is somebody who never really played these types of cards. I don't play a lot of blue. I don't do a lot of library manipulation. But it's a cantrip and you get to do some digging, right?
Mhm.
So it definitely seems good in a combo deck where you need to try to get your combo faster. Anything that helps you dig, anything that helps you get your combo faster is good. I also always like these cards in blue too, because sometimes you don't have a counter spell and you really need one. And somebody does something, you're like, oh shit, I would really love to counter. If you have an instant that lets you dig a little bit deeper in your deck, sometimes you find that counter. So this can also help you dig for a counter.
Blue's all about like draw and library manipulation, so you can stack this with some other cards that do similar things to get like a bunch of draw going.
Exactly. That's why I think I never fully appreciated the power of these cards, because it's like, okay, it helps you go through 4 cards. Big deal. I never played like a straight blue deck where I filled my card or filled it with like multiple copies of cards that do things like this. And when
I feel like this was
have those all
popular
running
at the
together.
time. It was in 1 or 2 kinds of decks that were being used.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely saw it being played, and I had it like as I had a couple copies of it, and I know I had it as like, oh, I'm going to use this. I just hadn't like built a deck around it really yet, or not around it, but a deck that it goes in.
4.673 on Gatherer, even higher than Queer Iron Ranger. People love this even more than the Ranger, even more than the Fire Blast. Alex, it was also on a World Championship deck.
Another thing I like with cards like this is like when you're using Sylvan Library, you get into kind of like the benefit of it can slow down if you don't keep drawing cards. After the initial benefit of Sylvan Library, then you're kind of like stuck just seeing the same cards you don't want and putting them back. And this can help you like break that cycle. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'll get more bang for your buck out of your Sylvan Library than if like after your impulse.
Janosch Kuhn, Alex, in 1997 had Impulse in his World Championship deck. What does this one look like? We got Islands, Mountains, Plains, City of Brass. So we got a red, white, blue deck. We got a Patriot deck. I loved these colors back in the day. My budget version of the deck was pretty much a red, white, blue, Sarah Angel, Moat, Fireball, Lightning Bolt counterspell deck. Thawing Glaciers, a card I never played from Alliances. And actually, I put a copy in my Commander deck when I'm playtesting online to see how it works. I never like drawing this card. It is so slow. Undiscovered Paradise, 4 Impulse, 4 Counterspell, 4 Force of Will, 4 Wildfire Emissary, 4 Incinerate, 2 Hammer of Bogarden, 1 Pillage, 2 Disintegrate, 4 Swords, 3 Abeyance, 2 Disenchant, 4 Frenetic Efreet. This looks to me just like a blue, red, white good stuff deck. I would build this deck if I was like in this limited environment back in the day when I was playing my red, white, blue, Sarah Angel, Moat, Counterspell, Mana Drain, Lightning Bolt, Fireball deck. I would build this. Interesting to see though, like Impulse here, not in the kind of deck that we were talking about, where it's like a heavy combo deck and you just gotta sort through your deck to get the pieces that you want. It's just just there kind of as a good card.
Yeah, it might be just a little more because you're like this deck probably goes through cards fairly quickly with like the heat and the counter spells. You're probably like emptying your hand,
Yeah.
Impulse gives you a little more draw.
I wonder where Janosch Kuhn ended up in the 1997 World Championships. Impulse is also, it happens to be one of the top 10 most played cards in Premodern.
Oh.
I saw a list the other day.
I guess
One of
it's
the
not a draw because it's like 1 for 1. I mean, I guess that's like a stupid thing to say. I don't know. Maybe since you don't shuffle it anymore, I don't know if you were still shuffling it at this point. I guess you were. They hadn't
I
come out
believe,
with a new
yeah.
version of the card.
No, I
I
think
was
it was
gonna,
a while before they errated that.
yeah, I was gonna say you could use it to thin your deck. You know what I mean? By putting the cards you don't want on the bottom. By the way, I looked in it. The next version of this card is the one where they changed the wording.
Okay.
It's in
Dominator United?
no beat down. Oh wait, never mind. This might just be out of order because it's this might be out of order. Beat down box set is next after Visions on Gatherer, but that might not be the next set that came out. Dual decks.
It doesn't say to it doesn't say to shuffle. Nothing other than the Visions. So whenever those were released, I don't know.
Huh. Interesting.
I don't know. All my life I played with that shuffle in the library afterwards. It's very possible that we were like playing with that shuffle in the library afterwards in like the year 2000. We just didn't get the memo. Like if it was errated in 1999 or 1998, would we have necessarily known?
Yeah,
We
probably
just
not.
played within our own little play group. We weren't reading articles in the Duelist or whatever. The next, I will call this common from Visions, not necessarily killer common. I just thought it was kind of interesting and not a bad card. Undo. I just like cards with this effect. The boomerang type effect.
Uh-huh.
Undo,
Like
one colorless,
2 for 1.
2 blue. Sorcery. Return 2 target creatures to owner's hand. Slows your opponent. It could be used on your own enter the battlefield creatures. That's when I pulled this up. When I was really going through enter the battlefield, I got to take advantage of enter the battlefield. I got to build a whole deck based on that. And I'm like, does undo get into that deck? I don't know yet.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it's nice because you can do both. You can return one of their creatures that you don't like and then do the thing on one of your creatures that you want.
I also like using this stuff, not just to like bounce something back to their hand to slow them down or to save you for one more turn or to make them pay mana to play something they already played. I like to use these kind of things to like bounce something back that I can now counter because I have a counter spell in my hand now that I didn't have in my hand back when they played it.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That never
I thought
really
you were gonna say discard, but yeah, okay.
That's fine too. Discard also.
Yeah, similar idea.
I never really I don't play this kind of stuff enough to actually have that happen for me ever, but that's what I want to happen when I play this kind of stuff. Yeah, I want to bounce it back to their hand, make them discard it, bounce it back to their hand, counterspell it if they try to play again.
Yeah, I'm not sure I remember this card, but I would play it. I like it in a bouncy.
Yeah, you were looking for things too for your commander deck too that had boomerang type effects. And
the only
I think
thing is it's 2 blue, so I might pass on it still, but
it ruins your
it breaks not a hard rule. That's just to make my life easier. So
if you were gonna break that card, if you're gonna break that rule for some cards, there's probably better things to do it for than undo. I'm guessing.
I already broke it for bribery, which I might end up changing my mind on. So we'll see. Might take that up. Anyways,
3.694 on Gather. If I didn't say that already. Now,
okay.
Alex, some more killer comments from Visions. Not all of these are killer comments. There's the charms. I don't have a whole lot to say about the charms. These are 1 casting cost cards for each color. There's Hope Charm for white, Vision Charm for blue, Funeral Charm for black, Hearth Charm for red, and Emerald Charm for green.
And they did this for the first time in Mirage, right? And then
these were the first charms.
Yeah, oh, this was the first one? Okay.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Mirage. They did it in Mirage.
Okay.
I believe so. Let's Google that. Charms in Mirage. Charms in Mirage MTG. I think you were right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Chaos Charm.
Yes, I'm remembering some of these ivory charms. You know why they don't stick in my head? Because I don't think they're as good.
I know we definitely didn't play with them.
We didn't. I will say though that I don't think I played with the Visions charms either, but some of them have become better since.
Yes, definitely.
Vision Charm gets big play, and I will be playing this
in Phyrexian Dreadnought decks.
Yeah.
And Phyrexian Dreadnought existed here, but I think the Dreadnought deck wasn't as scary when you just had one option to do this type of thing. So you had your 4 Dreadnoughts and your 4 Vision Charms, and you needed to get your Vision Charms in your hand at the same time as your Dreadnought in order to be able to play that combo. But nowadays you have the Vision Charms and you have Stifle and you have a couple other things too. I think people use Reality Ripple also to bring their Phyrexian Dreadnought into play without having to sacrifice it right away. Reality Ripple was a Mirage card.
Oh, okay.
We didn't pay attention to that. For Vision Charm is 1 blue instant, choose 1. Target artifact phases out. So this is how it's used in the Dreadnought deck. You play your Dreadnought, you phase it out. And then you don't need to sacrifice your Dreadnought if you don't want to sacrifice creatures with power up to 12, something along those lines.
Mhm.
Or you put the top 4 cards from target player's library into his or her graveyard.
That's how I'm excited to use this card.
That seems really good.
I want to put it in like either some kind of, if not straight mill, some kind of deck where I maybe like steal cards out of people's graveyards or want to fill my own graveyard with cards.
I'm just reading that now and I'm like, I never see anybody use this card in that way, but you get to take 4 of their cards.
I've seen it in a mill deck list, and
okay.
I think I've seen it in black blue. People talking about using it with stuff, like filling up your graveyard so you can shallow grave or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Are all lands of one type or basic lands of your choice until end of turn? That's when I have my blue-green Visions theme deck, but also
River Boas,
but also with unlimited cards available to me. That's when I play on my River Boas, and I don't care. You don't care about anything because you're like, I don't have any islands. And then I line up my 4 River Boas, I play my Vision Charm, and then I Giant Growth, Berserk all of them. And the game's over. But Vision Charm is really the star these days because of the phasing ability and the way it can be used to get your Phyrexian Dreadnought into play. Another one, we looked at this just the other day, I think, maybe yesterday, Emerald Charm, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
It's 1 green instant, choose 1, untap target permanent, so it's a half a twiddle, or destroy target global enchantment, or target creature loses flying until end of turn. So, back in the day, if you wanted to remove enchantments in green, there weren't that many options, right?
Yeah, there were far fewer. It's crazy how many more options there are now.
So maybe you could use this back in the day for that purpose. I think this is why this came up in our discussion the other day too, because you were looking for enchantment removal, things that remove only enchantments.
I do like how versatile this is, though, because it's kind of like there's a good chance you'll be able to use one of the 3 abilities that it has. Like some of these charms, you're kind of like, I'm not sure if I'd use this necessarily, or like some of the things it does, like you might not have an opportunity to do in a game.
Yeah. White can also destroy an enchantment. There's Hope Charm. Hope Charm, destroy target local enchantment.
Oh, okay.
This destroys target global enchantment. Also, it's even more limited.
Local enchantment is that means
they're the nastier ones.
Huh?
They're the nastier ones, I think, in general, right?
I think local enchantment is what that just means like a creature enchantment.
Creature.
Like an aura now.
Okay.
Global enchantment would just be a regular enchantment, and then opposed to a enchant world.
But you know what? When I pulled this one up, I said it was the second best. Really, in my head, one of these abilities was give target creature trample, but that's not what it does. That's what I thought I was going to read, but that's not what I'm reading. Which instead of untap target permanent, it should say give target creature trample. Or
target permanent is much more like a blue thing.
It's a blue effect, yeah. So anyways, just some little things to throw out there. The charms. I'm probably not going to play them other than the Vision Charm.
Yeah, I liked when they came out with this idea for a card, like the 1 casting cost that can do multiple things. And I always wanted to try to use some of them for something, but every time I'm kind of like, it's not really going to make the cut.
They're probably I wonder how much play they get in Pauper.
Oh, yeah.
Where you're just limited to common.
And I think there's certainly some decks that use a few of them,
Yeah.
Sometimes they have a good effect for something, but.
Okay, Alex. I heard that you had some other comments from
Yeah,
Visions that I wasn't thinking about. You wanted to give them a shout out.
I put a few down.
I'll pull up the first one. Coercion.
We can go quick through this one. I think everyone knows Coercion. It's been reprinted. It's probably not as good as it used to be, but when it came out and there weren't too many discard spells, this also lets you look at someone's hand and pick. It was targeted discard that let you see their hand, and that was kind of new and unusual. And people still use it for, some targeted hand removal, hand discard.
That's a big thing.
Yeah.
Black.
Is that one?
Always discard. New sets are released, old sets rotate out. You lose your black discard. You gotta start playing with the new black discard in the new sets. I remember being coerced by you back in the day. I know you had this in some of your decks.
I used it sometimes. It was a newer card. I was kind of like, oh, this is a different kind of discard effect. But yeah, I think everyone knows that one. Cicada Lancer, the red card. Remember that? Flanking.
I just have a vague memory.
So I expected when I started looking through this, I was going to pull up this card and Jolreal Centaur, which I'm sure you remember, but that I did not.
Another flanker?
It's from Mirage. I was thinking it was from the same set, but no, Jolreal Centaur came out first, and then Cicada Lancer came out in Visions. It's 2 colorless, 1 red, summon Knight. He's 2/2. He has flanking, and he has haste.
I like this too. Yeah, I mean, when I see something with haste,
has a good rating.
When I see something with haste, I automatically, like a creature, I think of it as like having 1 lower mana casting cost than it really does.
Yeah.
So I look at this, I'm like, okay, it's a 2/2 for 2 in a way, but you get to attack with it right when it comes in. In addition to that, nobody's going to want to block it with a 2/2 on their end because it has flanking.
Right.
So it's almost like a 2.5 for 2.
Yeah, I like it.
That's good.
And it has here 3.94 on Gatherer.
Okay, it gets respect.
I think there was some buzz about this card when it came out. I think people were like, "Oh, this is an obvious pick to go into, a quick red deck. It has haste, it has flanking." Like you said, people don't want to block. Especially in a red deck, you don't want to block something, have it lose the -1/-1, and now your creature's in like lightning bolt range.
Yeah.
Because they could finish it off easily. So yeah, I don't know. I didn't really use this. I had them obviously because it was a common. But I think I maybe just like wasn't playing red at the moment or whatever. But yeah.
It's good. I wonder why Ben didn't put it in his 1997, 1998 World Championship.
Oh yeah. I don't know. Compared to the Viashino Sandstalker.
Yeah, maybe it just doesn't match up well. I mean, Shandstalker, which you get to play over and over again, or the Cicada Lancer. I don't know.
True. So yeah, that one. And then let's see what else here. So okay, Mystic Veil. Do you remember this card? It's a blue.
This is the Vision card, Mystic Veil?
Yes.
I don't remember it. I remember the next one in the list, but
I
remember the art.
Yeah, okay. I really liked this when it came out because there was not a lot of stuff that gave creatures Shroud at all back then. I think you had to pick. There was something from Legends. I can't even remember what it was called.
Spectral Cloak.
Yeah, Spectral Cloak. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. And I had Spectral Cloak in my Ali from Cairo deck. I saw this, this came out. I was like, oh, it's an upgrade from. I wish I still had that deck. Anyways, it's 1 blue, 1 colorless. It's an enchant creature. You may choose to play it as an instant, but if you do, you bury it at the end of turn, and enchanted creature has Shroud. So it's a cheap Shroud enchantment to put on something, or you can use it as an instant, basically as a counterspell, if they're targeting your creature. So that's a good card, but it has been basically just straight upgraded. I think we'll talk about this also in another episode because I found a cycle from Prophecy that does things similar to this card.
Okay.
The way that it works. They're all like enchantments with flash, to put it in more modern terms.
Oh, okay.
Spider Climb is the other one from Visions that is similar to this. It's 1 green. It gives a creature +0/+3, and it can now block flying. And it also has that flash type effect. You can play it as an instant, and then it gets buried.
So similar, not in its effect, but similar in the way you can play it. You can play it as an instant. Okay.
Yes. It gives a creature, it's like a web type effect. It gives a creature +0/+3, and it can block creatures with flying. For 1 green mana, I like that. It's a nice combat trick.
If you do bury it at end of turn, you have to bury the creature at end of turn?
No, the enchantment.
Just an enchantment, okay.
Yeah. So
She doesn't look
then
very,
sorry, go ahead.
she doesn't look very spider-like. I mean, I understand she's climbing up, but it looks more like she's becoming part of the tree.
Yeah, she looks more like she has root finger climb.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah. So I was looking through the other Visions comments, and I don't think this is a full cycle. These 2 cards that work like this in here, I think they're the only ones, the blue and the green one. If I'm wrong, anyone correct me, or you can look, but I didn't see a red or a black or a white one.
What is Death Watch? Is this another Visions card? You have
Yep.
this on the
2
list?
more cards. Death Watch.
I have no memory of.
I
This
remember, I'm pretty sure I have one, because I remember the art, and I never
Sell
played
it. 19 cents.
And I definitely don't think I thought it was good at all. It's just a card I didn't pay attention to. When I saw it today, I was like, this might actually be good.
Another enchant creature. 1 black. If enchanted creature is put into any graveyard, that creature's controller loses an amount of life equal to its power, and you gain an amount of life equal to its toughness.
Do you hate it? Is it bad?
No.
No. What I'm thinking about with this is it's like I'm going to cast something that like doesn't necessarily do damage, but like kills the creature outright, like a terror, or something. I play this instantly, like right before it, in combination with that, and now I do a creature removal, damage to them, and life gain to me.
Yeah, I was just thinking of this. So when I first started reading this, I was thinking about the cards we just talked about in a couple episodes ago. Delirium, right? The other one I keep remembering, keep forgetting the name of. It's not Backdraft, it's Backlash, maybe.
Oh, Backlash. Okay.
These cards, you kill a creature and does damage to the opponent or to the creature's controller. Isn't that what all these creatures, what all these cards did?
Backlash taps the creature, I think.
Just taps it.
Some of them, there's at least 1 card, I think, that destroys it, though.
And I think all of these cards that we talked about were 3 mana. Tap target creature the player controls. That creature deals to the player an amount of damage equal to its power. Tap.
So it wouldn't help with Delirium or Backlash.
But what I was thinking is they're 3 mana. They're 3 mana, I think. Yeah, Backlash, tap target creature. Okay. They just tap the creature. Combining Death Watch with a terror or something for 3 mana does what those 2 cards do, but also kills the creature instead of just taps it. And it gives you life.
And it gives you life.
The only problem is you need to have both cards. It becomes a combo.
Right. It's now a combo instead of just 1 creature removal card. But yeah, I don't know. It's good. I like it because you can use this on their big baddie when you kill it.
The only thing I don't like about it, and this is a big thing, this is probably why it never gets played. If you just have this card, it essentially does nothing.
Yeah.
It just sits there
by itself
on
your
opponent's creature. You need to then do the thing with another card.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's going to be just dead cardboard.
There might be like, in a deck, there are some cards that do like every player has to sacrifice a creature every turn. What's that? Is that Abyss?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I just described Abyss. I can't remember.
I could put in an Abyss deck.
Yeah.
I just need my 4 Abysses.
Yeah.
I
think there's maybe some opportunities for this, but I don't know.
What about that stupid card, Pillar Tombs of Aku?
I don't remember how that works.
People are like, this is junk because you have to pay this much mana just to do 5 damage or something. Pillar Tombs of Aku, 2 colorless, 2 black, enchant world. During each player's upkeep, that player sacrifices a creature or that player loses 5 life and you bury. Now they can still just lose 5 life and you bury Pillar Tombs of Aku. Okay, never mind. I always forget that they have the option just to lose 5 life and then this goes bye-bye.
Yeah, that's it could be a cool card. I like
it's almost a cool card. Yeah. It's like I want to play it. I want it to be better. I hate I hate the fact that it does what it does, which makes it not a good card.
Yeah.
Like I don't like you don't want to play anything that your opponent can just like choose to give up 5 life for and then just eliminate it. Unless you play 4 Pillar Tombs of Aku, you get them all out on the board. That's your 20 life. Game 1.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of have to play it in a creatureless deck or a deck where you don't care about losing your creatures, maybe something with sacrifice tokens, you know? 'Cause
Yeah.
it's hurting you too.
Yes.
Yeah. But Deathwatch has a 3.51. That's not bad.
Okay, that's not bad at all. That's not bad at all.
I'm looking at what people say. Not a whole lot, I think, that we can pull out of the comments, but someone talks about using it with a donate combo, so you can give something, deliberately give a certain creature to them and then use it.
Hard to pull off. Then you
One guy
need
says
3.
Deathwatch and Terror. Yeah. Now we're like getting into a convoluted combo.
There is a whole like deck archetype though built around that, which we never played any of these decks, and they weren't popular at all when back in the day when we played, or at least not among our group or anybody we hung out with. I think they might be called tricks decks. So remember the card Illusions of Grandeur?
Yeah.
I think that's like a big part of those decks. And I believe like Illusions of Grandeur is not good for the person who actually owns it.
Yeah, the idea with the combos that people use for this is not the original intended purpose of the card, probably. It's to give it to them.
Yeah, this is in a deck that you want to give this to them. Yeah, when at least play lose 20 life. So you gain 20 life, I guess, and then you give it to them and they lose the 20 life.
Yeah, I think.
You play it, you give it to them. You gain the 20 life when you play it. They lose the 20 life when you give it to them. Anyways, all that to say, that's a deck type where you give things to people.
It seems like a weird trick to me to play. It seems like a little too weird and tricky that I probably wouldn't use it. It seems kind of like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's in keeping with the intention of the card to me. It's more like a loophole trick.
This is not magic as Garfield intended.
Yeah. And like, I don't know. It just seems to me like we just looked at a card that they like with Impulse where they had like errata on it, like immediately to change how it works and stuff. And it's like, you'd think they, would have errated this card to not have that effect.
I don't know.
Illusions of Grandeur.
Maybe probably not enough people were doing whatever.
Yeah.
Things don't get errated unless they cause problems in the meta.
Yes.
So
and back then, I don't think people were doing that type of Illusions of Grandeur combo.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Unless we just missed it.
Yeah. So, anyways, yeah, Deathwatch is on my list.
On your watch list.
Maybe play with. Check it out sometime.
You have another one, Alex. I have no memory of this card at all. When I read the card name, I just immediately think of a Weatherlight card, but we're not talking about Weatherlight right now. So
yeah, when I saw the name, some of these black card names especially, you're like, what? Which card is that? A lot of them do the same thing. But I'm glad because I thought maybe we talked about this and I forgot it. Infernal Harvest is a sorcery, 1 black, 1 colorless. Return X swamps you control to owner's hand. Infernal Harvest deals X damage divided any way you choose among any number of target creatures.
Okay.
I have to confess that I think the first time I read this card, I thought it said any target and not target creatures. But you could do it to the player as well.
And now you're like, I don't like this card anymore.
But I was thinking about using this in like a white-black Armageddon combo.
Yeah. You could still do that. Yeah.
Yes. I think it would still be good for that. Even though it's a little bit less versatile as far as like the damage that it does. You can't do it to the player anymore, so that's sad.
White, black, green, Armageddon, Infernal Harvest, Quirion Rager, Urnam Jajin deck, Geddon deck. Infernal Ranger Urnam Geddon.
All right.
Okay, then. I think that brings to an end our discussion of the killer commons of Visions. I'm gonna go through. I want to do something similar for other sets too, like post visions, the sets we don't know as well.
Go through some of them, and yeah.
Because I mean, the decks I'm building, these cards that I went through at the beginning, they're in all my decks. Like, how many other cheap commons are out there that I am definitely going to want to include in my decks that I don't know about yet? I got to figure that out so I can build more cheap decks.
I'm finding new ones all the time because I've now, like, the sets, the old border sets that we've brushed up on, that were after when we played. I've paid attention to the higher value cards a lot.
That's what I've done too. Yeah, I got to look at the cheap stuff because
now the commons are, it's time to get into some of the real cheap cards, and I keep finding good stuff in them that'll at least be fun to play. So there we go.
Because I can't afford play sets of Gaia's Cradles and Survival of the Fittest.
Yeah.
And then also,
there's plenty of other fun stuff to play. You don't need,
I do know.
You know. All right, so we're on to market news.
We're on to segment 3, Alex. Segment 3 is our MTG market discussion for the day. And you said you were paying attention to market moves, and you have some things that you would like to discuss.
Yeah, a couple little things here.
I'm going to start with this first thing in the list. You could start talking about it. Kindred Discovery.
Yeah.
I have no idea what it is. Never heard of it.
Card. It's so cool. It's cool, and it has great art. I love the art. Happy birds.
Is there a particular
one?
Okay, I was going to say, is there a particular art variant that I need to go to?
I put the links of all the appropriate ones in the show notes if that helps. But
is it a Baldur's Gate one?
Yes.
Like this version?
Yeah. It should be one that says extras down there. That one. Yeah. There you go.
Okay. Boom.
Boom. Birds.
We're on to a new bordered card.
Yeah, this whole segment actually is just about all new cards. Some of them are from Baldur's Gate and Forgotten Realms.
That explains why I've never heard of any of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
This card's cool. I like it. The birds are all living together in harmony. The humanoid crow birds are taking care of the regular types of birds. They're all like, they have like a bird farm, whatever, bird sanctuary, I guess maybe you'd call it.
The crows are farming the chickens for their eggs.
Yeah, I don't know. No, Steve.
And their flesh.
No. It's a blue card. It's not a black card.
Kindred Discovery, 3 colorless, 2 blue enchantment. As Kindred Discovery enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. I choose goblins.
Okay.
Whenever a creature you control of the chosen type enters the battlefield or attacks, draw a card. I'm going to be drawing so many additional goblin cards.
A lot of cards. Enters the battlefield or attacks. That's pretty cool.
You know what I put this in?
A haste deck.
A blue-white bird soldier deck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There you go. A hasty, boomerangy kind of deck. Enter the battlefield deck.
A blue, white, green, concordant crossroad, Kindred Discovery, bird soldier deck.
There you go. The possibilities are endless.
Yes.
In any case, this guy's had a little pump recently. I bought one when Baldur's Gate came out for $5 because I liked the art, and I saw some people online talking about how they thought it was a sleeper card.
Okay, so
for tribal decks.
It's kind of doubled in the last month.
Yeah, so
$5 to $10.
My $5 purchase up to $11.
Where's this going to go?
Extended art is like the same price as the regular one, so I wonder if those will like separate more eventually.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know how people feel about the extended art in general.
I like it.
It depends on the specific card, and this one has cool art, so I can see this one. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it does depend. That's true.
Kindred Discovery. Interesting new border card.
Yeah.
On the Old Man Magic podcast. Next one. Haunted.
Sorry.
What do you have more to say about Kindred Discovery?
No. I was just going to mention that, yeah, a few of these cards are from Baldur's Gate and Forgotten Realms. And that's kind of why I picked them. There were obviously other market movers this week, and these aren't necessarily the most important, but I have my eye on those sets and what's happening with them because I like the D&D thing. They're the modern thing I've paid the most attention to so far. Even though a lot of people kind of didn't like the power level of the set or the pack drawing.
I wonder what's going to happen, though. I don't pay attention to Baldur's Gate, but I hear it brought up from time to time and just other things I'm listening to. And it seems like almost every time it's brought up as being an underappreciated set that one day people will appreciate.
I hope maybe that's just because I've said that to you. I don't know.
No, I've heard it in other things too.
I think people keep finding like sleeper cards in the set. It seems like that they kind of overlooked because everyone was panning the set. I think the
Mhm.
biggest problem with the set isn't that it has like bad cards in it. It's just that the like
Commander Legends. It wasn't what
how
people
they
thought it was going to
collated it
be.
and what you drew from it was, disappointing to people. Yeah, for some reason the non-extended art didn't show like a graph of price on this. I'm not sure
Yeah,
why.
I don't know.
But yeah, I didn't know this card at all. I just saw it in the MTG stocks list as a recent mover. But it's a legendary enchantment background, 1 black, 2 colorless.
Do you know what that means, Alex?
No.
Yeah.
I've heard of backgrounds, but I haven't brushed up on exactly what they do. I
Okay.
kind of have a feel for it, but
I have no idea what it means. Okay.
it's an enchantment kind of thing. It's in the background. It's
Okay.
sitting there, and when things happen, then other things happen.
Okay.
Commander creatures you own have, quote, when this creature becomes tapped, it and other creatures you control that share a creature type with it each get +2/+0 and gain Undying until end of turn.
What is Undying?
I don't
Oh,
know.
Lord.
I don't know this card at all.
This is why I'm afraid to go. So I went to another LGS, not the one I talked about. I went to another one and I asked, oh, do you have pre-modern lands? No, we don't keep them here. Do you have an unlimited stuff? No, I have unlimited stuff at home. You could send me an email, tell me what you're looking for. I'm like, I just kind of want to go through binders. And he's like, we're not a binder store, blah, blah, blah. But he also said, Tuesdays and Thursdays, they have people come in for gameplay. And one of those days is Commander Night. And I was like, I asked, do people mostly play modern stuff? And he's like, oh, have you ever played Commander? It's all the cards. And I was like, yeah, I understand that, but I mostly have just old cards. And I don't know what it's going to be like when I sit down to play a game of Commander with my old cards and people just have all modern stuff. I don't know if power-wise I'm going to get blown out of the water. But then the other thing is, I'm not going to know any of the cards. Every single time anybody puts something on the board,
That's what I'm
going to
about
have to
most.
ask them what the hell they're playing.
Yeah.
And I'm going to see this. I'm going to be
What's
like,
the
what's background? What's Undying?
Undying,
So-
by the way, it says if a permanent with Undying is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, it returns to the battlefield under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it.
So it's like an extra life.
Yeah,
It's
and a +1/+1 counter.
if you're playing a video game, you have an extra life. You die,
Yeah.
you come back right away, and +1/+1. Okay.
So when you put this on a creature, it and other creatures of the type, goblins, all gain +2/+0 and Undying until end of turn.
Well, you don't put this on a creature. You put this in the background.
Oh, right, yeah, you cast it.
Or
and
do
then-
you?
No, I think you're right, yeah.
It says commander creatures you own, and now I'm seeing it's a legendary enchantment. Does this mean that it's you enchant your legend? Do you enchant your commander with this?
I think you cast it on the board, but its effect is on your commander, like it would be if it enchanted the commander, but
Okay.
it doesn't actually enchant the commander because
Okay, that might be it. We might
That's
be
what I
we
think.
might be figuring out what background is, maybe.
Yeah. I've seen it talked about recently. I should have looked it up more.
Anyways, it was a big mover. That's why you brought it up, right?
Yes, that's more why I brought it up.
I wonder why people are all of a sudden buying this card. It doesn't seem like it does anything.
Oh, okay, backgrounds exist in the command zone, apparently. That's what this says.
Okay, so it
It's a
sits in the
legend.
command zone?
It is a legendary enchantment type introduced in Baldur's Gate. Backgrounds interact with commanders in commander games. They represent a story that your commander brought to the point where we find them now.
What does that mean?
I don't know. This says monocolored legendary creatures in Baldur's Gate have the ability to choose a background to customize your commander. The bonus comes in the form of an ability your commander gains, or a boost to their power and toughness. I'm very confused. I have no idea, Steve.
I'm not into this mechanic or this card.
to be honest.
Well, what the card does is pretty good, it seems like. But yeah, I'm confused. We'll have to,
If I can figure out how it works.
if we can figure out how this works. Yeah, we'll have to come back to that. So
Next
anyway,
one.
next card.
Battle Angels of Tyr.
Yeah, I saw this talked about a few times actually recently. In like
This
some
is making big market
forums.
moves.
Yeah, 'cause it's really jumping.
It's tripled in price from April till now. Well, doubled in price from April till now. Battle Angels of Tyr.
This one's a mouthful.
2 colorless, 2 white, creature, angel knight, 4/4 flying, myriad, whatever that means. Alex?
Nope.
Whenever Battle Angels of Tyr deals combat damage to a player, draw a card if that player has more cards in hand than each other player. So it has to have, if you're playing Commander, that opponent has to have more cards in his hand than
anyone,
anybody
I think.
else.
And then you get to draw a card.
Then you create a treasure token if that player controls more lands than each other player.
Yeah.
Then you gain 3 life if that player has more life than each other player.
So
It
when he
seems
gets
like-
through, he has like a balance effect. Does something like
Yeah.
the card balance kind of.
I wonder why this.
Myriad talked about before.
Well, it doesn't have a balance effect because the balance.
No,
I mean,
exactly.
balance. It doesn't remove things from your
Right.
opponent,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah,
better.
exactly.
Okay. Plus, it doesn't even up.
Oh, I remember how
necessarily.
Myriad works. I read about this before, I think. Whenever a creature with Myriad attacks, its controller may create token copies of that creature for each other opponent, which are exiled at the end of combat.
Okay,
So
So
this
you
guy
could-
splits into multiple versions of himself for the attack.
so you could be coming at somebody with 3 of these
I
potentially.
think only each person, like one at you, one at Joe, one at Mark.
Well, if this goes at, let's say you're playing a 4-player game,
Oh no, maybe you're right.
and this goes at each person, then how do you decide? Like,
No, I think it doesn't say anything about who the token creatures have to attack.
whenever Battle Angels of Tyr deals combat damage to a player, draw a card if that player has more cards in hand than each other player. If it goes at each other person, I guess you get all of these bonuses as long as it actually damaged the person.
Okay, no, it does have to be attacking. Okay, sorry, this will clear it up, I think. Whenever this creature attacks for each opponent other than defending player, you may create a token that's a copy of this creature that's tapped and attacking that player or a planeswalker they control. Then they're exiled at the end of combat.
I didn't hear what you said. Say it again.
Yeah, they do have to attack the other players. When I attack
Okay.
one person with this guy, it makes copies of it that are attacking the other players.
Okay. So if it gets through, you're going to get all of these bonuses because
Yeah.
one of those players is going to be the player
True.
with the most cards in hand.
If it's not you. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's not you.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Okay.
But then, of course, it has to damage that person. It's not necessarily
Yes.
going to damage that person.
Yes.
Okay. Plus, yeah, that person cannot be you. This seems like a great way to make everybody
Hate you?
mad at you. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm not sure what people are comboing with it now.
Yeah, you better have a really strong deck if you just want to make everybody angry at you. Attack everybody all at once, and not end the game. Just like hit them for 4. Okay,
It was it. Let's see what they say about it in the weekly winners.
it's expensive.
Yeah, it really shot up, huh?
30
I think
bucks.
this was $10 back when like the
Yeah,
second-
it wasn't even cheap ever. $10 to begin with. You made a career on Rangers you can buy for the price of 1 Battle Angels of Tyr, Alex?
The recent price spike can be attributed to several factors, including its role as an excellent upgrade for the upcoming Cavalry Charge Commander Precon deck, as well as its popularity among players who enjoy Angel and Knight-themed Commander decks. I've noticed a few cards recently that are spiking because people think they will fit into upcoming pre-constructed decks.
I heard that. I heard you say upgrade of Precon, and I'm like, oh, I probably know what happened. Probably one of the big YouTubers. I see this happen.
Yeah.
The big channels, they often have like Precon upgrade segments. Where
Okay.
they'll do this. They'll go through the Precons and they'll say, how could you make this better with upgrades? And they suggest cards. Maybe this was like suggested by the professor
probably.
or something.
Oh, here it is. Video mentioned in a video by the Nitpicking Nerds.
There you go.
There you go.
There you go.
There
One
you go.
day, Alex, you and I can manipulate the market like this.
Mhm.
That's when the money starts flowing in. That's when we're like doing our segment on Query on Rangers, and we have like 10,000 copies of Query on Rangers, and it goes from 25 cents to 37 cents in a week, and then we're loaded.
All right, next card.
Guardian
of Faith. This was also mentioned on MTG Stocks
and by the Nitpicking Nerds.
as a recent mover.
Guardian of Faith. One
Going up
colorless,
because of
2 white.
Commander.
Creature, Spirit Knight. 3/2. Flash Vigilance. When Guardian of Faith enters the battlefield, any number of other target creatures you control phase out. I'm shocked to see those 2 words on a modern card. Phase out.
I think they're bringing it back a little bit. I think a few other cards have had phasing recently. I've heard some
Fucking
people talk
hell.
about it.
I don't think they should.
I agree, Steve. I didn't like phasing.
Maybe it's been appearing here and then, like for the last 20 years when you and I haven't been paying attention. But like, I thought it was something that they kind of just decided to get away from after Mirage Visions.
Well, they say this is popping up.
Somebody made a video.
It sees some
Not
play
us.
in Pioneer in the sideboards of Elves and White Weenie decks.
I love Vigilance.
You're protecting against board wipes with it. It says
Okay.
Pioneer Elves.
Okay, that makes sense because you can flash it in.
Okay.
So your opponent plays a board wipe. You cast this with flash.
Cast it, pull your creatures
Phase
back in your
everything
hand.
out.
Wow.
Oh, that's nasty.
Phasing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, sweet.
I'm buying. Where's my credit card?
Bye.
I'll have these ready for when I get to new border sets in 25 years.
Well, when there's ups, there's downs. So there are 2 downs we have. One of them I'm very excited about because I want to pick this up, and I've mentioned it before, and that is Contamination.
Life is all about ups and downs.
Look at that giant spike, and look at it.
Can't
go.
have one without the other.
Contamination is a radical card from Urza's Saga. It has our favorite black seahorse kind of looking guy in it. I'm a big fan of him. But yeah, it's an enchantment that makes all lands produce black mana instead of what they normally produce, which is devastating.
It is devastating
Devastating.
for everybody who isn't playing a straight black deck.
Yeah, correct. But yeah, this has come way down. It's like you can buy them for like $12 right now, I think.
I love to see things that are below their 2020 price because there's not many Magic cards that are below their 2020 price that have not only come down from that post-COVID spike, but come down even lower. There are many things that might be there in the future. We'll see how things go with the economy in general, with Magic the Gathering specifically. But right now, there's still, although a lot of things have come down far off their highs, there are not many. Most of them are not pre-2020 prices.
Yep.
This you can currently pick up for, holy smokes, 2017 prices.
Yeah.
Well, why did I say $12?
They're like 13 or 14 now. Sorry.
Okay.
I looked the other day. I just looked again.
Okay.
$14.
Sometimes this isn't always correct. You see the MTG stocks, it says market price, 18, 19 average. Sometimes I've noticed you can get on TCG Player, actually find plenty of like play copies lower than that.
Yeah. They actually have a couple of near mints just sold. Well, no, yeah. This is a good price. Yeah. $14 now. Yeah. So I'd pick up a couple of these if I could.
Damn. Near mints for $14?
Yeah.
Sweet. Sweet.
Second down. This is a neat card. I saw this on the list and I had to look at what it was, and I thought it was cool, so I thought I'd bring it up. It's called
Is
Wave
this
of
a weather? Is it a weatherlight card?
No.
I don't know what it is then.
It is Mercadian Masks, Wave of Reckoning. 1 white, 4 colorless, sorcery. Each creature deals to itself damage equal to its power. Punching yourself in the face.
I'm going to put this in a deck that I'm going to call Stop Hitting Yourself.
Stop hitting yourself. There you go.
Wave of Reckonings, Deliriums.
Yeah, okay. White, black, red. Maybe some donates to give them creatures. to
Yeah,
hit
stop
themselves in
hitting
the face
yourself.
with.
That's way better name than like tricks. Stop hitting yourself.
Yeah. So yeah, anyways, I don't know. I saw this card. The casting cost isn't amazing, but it's a pretty cool, like, board wipe-ish effect. It could,
Mhm.
like, if you played at the right time, it could, like, hurt your opponents more than it hurts you.
You have this in the downs. It's an up though, isn't it? Isn't it up?
Oh,
Is
you
it
know what?
going
I'm
down?
sorry. I was going to get to that too. It's an up, but it was a down this week, but that's only because it went up so
okay.
much in the past few weeks or past
Yeah.
years.
Past year, I guess. People decided that within the last year they wanted to buy Wave of Reckoning.
Yeah.
Weird.
But yeah, I saw it on the down list because it had come off
Okay.
its peak a little bit, but it's up overall.
What are people using this for? It's a rare
I don't know.
Arcadian Mask. I don't even know what's going on here. Is this like a dead baby in the snow?
In a mountain of cocaine.
Is it just? I guess it's a full size person. It's probably this. I guess it's this person. It's this person's brother.
No, you think those are the no, I think that's 4 totally different people.
No, it is 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 people.
Yeah. Okay.
5 people.
Oh yeah, there's that person.
But like, this is a
first
whole. This is a full size man.
Yeah.
This looks like an infant,
baby.
but no, it's not a full
They're
size
just
man.
buried.
It's buried, but it looks like a baby.
Yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't look quite right.
Yeah.
I don't know what the wave is. It kind of looks up in the sky. It looks like it's fog, but down around them, it looks like it's an avalanche.
Snow. Yeah, maybe snow.
Yeah, it looks like snow. That's what
Okay.
I'm assuming.
Each creature deals damage to itself equal to its power. Okay, you could just. I mean, what would you want to use this for? You would want to use this in a white-green Saber Ants deck.
Yeah, there you go.
No,
There you go. No, I mean, I think you have to expect to be playing around this. Like, your creatures, for example, are maybe creatures with protection from the color they are, or regenerate, or have lower power than their toughness, so they don't kill themselves.
Let's say your commander is Jacques Levert that gives
Yeah.
+0/+2 to all of your green creatures.
Yeah.
So you're probably going to have better toughness than
Yes.
power.
Yeah.
Let's say you're running a veteran bodyguard Jacques Levert white-green deck.
There you
Plus
go.
red, because Jacques Levert has a red. Okay.
So yeah, it's a little high casting cost wise, but I could see it being kind of like a devastating play at some point in the game, kills several creatures all at once.
Yeah.
And it would work in multiplayer.
I don't think I ever play that card, but I will say nobody's probably going to expect it. Or though maybe they expect it more than I realize, because for some reason people are buying it.
Yeah, it's spiking.
It's well above bulk rare prices. $5-10. Interesting.
But that was one, yeah, I just learned about that, so I thought it was cool. It's been reprinted in Commander 2016. Its rating is 3.84 on Gatherer.
It's higher than I would have thought. I'm just not getting it yet. Also sounds like it should be a black card, not a white card.
A little bit, yeah. White's weird. White sometimes, you have like good white and evil white. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you look at a card, like some of the cards from the Dark that were white, or like land tax, you know, like the greedy rich guy. Like sometimes white is like priests that are pretending to be good, but they're like crooked.
I mean, God is not all good. If you do the wrong thing, if you do not follow his rules, he
Yeah,
sends you
there's
to hell to
Fire and
suffer for all of
Brimstone,
eternity.
which I believe
That's
is a white card.
pretty fucked. Yeah. Mana Echoes is the next one, Alex.
Oh, Steve, I'm sorry, we have to go back in the comments on Gatherer for Wave of Reckoning. The one at the bottom says, "Stop hitting yourself, stop hitting yourself."
Oh, damn it.
Sorry, what were you saying?
I was just going on to the next one, Mana Echoes.
Oh, yes. And this was also not necessarily a down or an up, because it's kind of in both. It's going
People
like-
can't decide whether or not they like this card.
Yeah, but I wanted to bring it up because I wasn't sure if we ever talked about it before. But it's neat,
I don't know.
and you might like it because, you know, it works in tribal goblin-y type decks.
Well, 1, it's red. 2, it has a weird dinosaur Kavus-like creature in the artwork. 2, it's 2 colorless, 2 red enchantment. Whenever a creature comes into play, you may add 1 colorless to your mana pool for each creature you control that shares a creature type with it.
So
Kinda
goblin,
nasty.
boom,
Yeah.
a lot of mana. Another goblin, boom, a lot more mana.
Yeah, it's kind of nasty.
Yeah.
might make me want to, I was going to say, might make me want to put direct damage back into my goblin deck because you could put fireballs in there. But then you're thinning your goblins because you're not just putting
Yeah, you're
fireballs.
going
putting
against
mana
your
echoes.
whole your whole
Mm.
idea. Yeah, yeah.
They trick you with these type of cards. This is why people can't decide if this is why it keeps going up and down. They're like, I want this. They play it. They're like, no.
Yeah, maybe.
And they're like, I want this. And they play it. And they're like, no, it's not working. And then they want this and they play it again. No, it's not working.
maybe they're going too obviously for goblins because it's red, and you have to think about a different tribe. You know, put it in a 2-color deck or a different red tribe.
I just don't know yet.
Yeah, I don't know.
No answer for this.
I don't think I'm gonna rush out and get this card. It's more money than I thought. I'm not sure what I thought, but you know what I mean. It seems like a fair amount of money to me for this card.
Well, I'm not paying $20 for this.
No, it's one of the most expensive cards in the set.
That's weird.
Right after the
Fetch lands.
the fetch lands. Yes.
Are you serious? Does Onslaught go fetch lands then?
No, there's 2 other cards. I think I have to pull it up.
Mana Echoes?
There's a couple other cards that are more expensive, but Mana Echoes is right up there.
Yeah, Goblin Sharpshooter, obviously good. Aggravated Assault. Untap all creatures you control. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase, followed by an additional main phase. Play this ability only time you can play a sorcery. Seems obviously good. Cover of Darkness. As Cover of Darkness comes into play, choose a creature type. Creature of the chosen type have fear.
That's a really good card. I would play that. You could splash that into any tribal deck.
Yeah.
If it's not, a zombie or a normally black deck. That's not bad.
Exalted Angels cheaper than Mana Echoes. Unholy Grottos cheaper than Mana Echoes.
Oversold Cemetery, that's one we've talked about.
Cheaper than Mana Echoes. Has this one not been reprinted at all?
Steely Resolve I think that's a good card.
It hasn't been reprinted since Double Masters. I
Right.
wonder why people love this card so much.
Hey, this might be a cycle. There might be a little cycle here, Steve. Not Mana Echoes, but Steely Resolve and that black one we just looked at. They're both one colorless and one of the mana, and they affect all creatures of a certain creature type.
Okay. I'm sure Onslaught has a bunch of cycles. I mean, Onslaught's all about tribes. Probably got a bunch of cool tribe-related cycles.
Yeah, Steely Resolve is green, one colorless. It's an enchantment. When it comes into play, you choose a creature type, and those creature types can't be the target of spells or abilities.
Okay. Okay.
Not bad.
There's a lot for us still to go through, Alex. We're still on visions.
I know.
That's good. That means as long as we don't die, the Old Man Magic podcast has content. We need to stay alive.
Stay alive.
Okay, Alex, I think that's the end of today's segment 3, which I'm going to call These Cards Went Up, These Other Cards Went Down.
There you go.
Plus Mana Echoes.
Plus Mana Echoes for some reason.
That brings us to the last segment of the podcast, Alex. The last segment of every episode of the Old Man Magic podcast in 2023 has been the Old Man Magic Commander Corner. We might keep this segment for a long time. It might just evolve into other things. Like, it doesn't have to be right now. We're using the Old Man Magic Commander Corner to build our first ever commander decks. But once we build the decks, we could just use this time to talk about general commander happenings or things we're learning about the world of Commander. Maybe I'll go to a local LGS, try to get in on those commander nights, try to learn all these things people are playing in Commander now. There's a huge Commander YouTube channel here in my city. I need to try to become friends with them and learn about Commander. I don't like making friends, though. I'm not that good.
Yeah, I know.
No new friends. That's my theme. I don't like Drake, but I like listening to that song. No new friends, no new friends, no new. I'm too old for new friends. Anyways, the Old Man Magic Commander Corner. This is the segment where we build our first ever commander decks. They are old frame only. My deck is named The Pump. My commander is Jacques Laver. He gives all my green creatures +0/+2. You may ask how many green creatures I have. A lot.
All of them.
I'm adding more. All of my creatures are green creatures. So they can all benefit from Jacques Laver. They can all benefit from Keza, who gives all green creatures I control +1/+1. I'll be pumping creatures with other cards in this deck as well. I can pump things with Wily Wolves. I can pump creatures with Giant Growth and Invigorate. I can make them go berserk with Berserk. I can pump them with Power Matrix. I can pump them with Mirari's Wake, Fires of Yavimaya. I can pump them with Rancor. I can pump select 1/1s with Pendohaven. They become 2/3s.
What are you putting in this week, Steve?
In addition to the pump theme, Alex, I have a go wide theme where I'm generating tokens. I have Deranged Hermit to generate tokens. I have Rith the Awakener. If he gets through, I generate tokens. I have Saber Ants. I can ping my Saber Ants to generate tokens. I have Sapling Symbiosis to generate tokens. I have Spontaneous Generation to generate tokens. I can blast your artifacts or enchantments off the board with Aura Mutation or Aura Mutation. Sorry, Artifact Mutation or Aura Mutation, both of which will not only blast your artifacts or enchantments off the board, they will also generate tokens. Alex, today, I have one more big card that I purchased for this deck, and I think that that is it.
Okay.
I have a Granddaddy token generator to add today.
Oh.
I have a legendary
Look at that.
legendary token generator. This might be the OG token generator.
Yeah.
I mean, there were token generators before Legends like the Hive. Hazes on Tamar, Alex. Hazes on Tamar is 4 colorless, 1 white, 1 green, 1 red, summon legend. On your next upkeep, after Hazes on is put into play, put Star Sand Token Warriors into play, where Star is the number of lands under your control. Treat the warriors as 1/1 white, green, and red creatures. So they're green, so they can also be pumped by Jacques Levert. They will also be pumped by Hazes.
As Hazezon is as well.
As Hazezon is as well. If Hazezon leaves play, all Sand Warrior tokens are also removed from the game.
Fair.
I think there's a weird thing, there's like a weird game people can play with Hazezon where you can like play him, get the Sand Warrior tokens, like remove him, play him again, get the Sand Warrior token. I got to figure it all out. Anyways, that's my big token generator for the day. I got to see if there's any more token generators out there that I could potentially add to my deck. It's getting full. I don't think I have a whole lot of space left in my deck, so I got to think about what it is I really want to add, because I got to add, I don't know how many mana sources, 40 plus probably. I probably only have like 10, 15, maybe 15 more spots left. And there's just some basic stuff that I still need to add.
Yeah.
Last night, as I was falling asleep, I had this idea with the Awakener, or I heard somebody say something. I was like, oh, I should do that with the Awakener. I've now forgotten what that is, but maybe next week I will add the thing that I was going to add to combo with Rith the Awakener.
Okay.
I just thought of it.
Oh.
I'm going to add it right now.
All right. Is it something that makes him unblockable?
Alex, this card will also pump.
Oh.
Why isn't it adding? There we go. Am I spelling armadillo incorrectly? I don't think so.
No.
Armadillo Cloak. Armadillo Cloak is an enchantment.
I love Armadillo Cloak.
1 colorless, 1 green, 1 white. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2. Love it. And trample. Whenever enchanted creature deals damage, you gain that much life. So basically, I just want to be able to trample with Rith. I know he has flying, but if they have flyers to block, I want to be able to trample with them. So I can do damage. So I can pay that 2 colors in green. So I can generate those green sapling tokens.
Yeah, there you go.
I also have Stampede Driver to add trample. I have Berserk to add trample. I have Elvish Herder to add trample.
Well, I was going to ask you if you thought about putting in the little 1/1 elf with trample. I don't know if you'll have room for him. I can't remember what his name is now, but he's like, I mentioned him on another podcast. I'll bring it up later when I remember.
He is a 1/1 that has trample himself.
Yeah,
Elvish,
he's like a little 1/1 trample elf.
I don't know. Elvish Herder is a 1/1 that I can give trample to other creatures if I pay a green.
No.
But there might be, I don't know. Maybe I'll add the trampling elf. I'm just not aware of who this trampling elf is. This is the segment of the show where Alex tries to find the trampoline elf for me at my Old Man Magic podcast.
How do you add trample in here?
Are you looking through Scryfall? Elf, trample?
No, I'm on Gatherer still.
Oh. I don't really
Oh,
know how to search.
oh,
Those are my additions for the week, Alex. Hazel's on Tamar and Armadillo Cloak. The only other card that I would really love for this deck is maybe a Eureka. not even because it would like make this deck like necessarily better in any way. Eureka is just fucking fun. And I always imagine it being like even more fun in a Commander game. Everybody just gets to drop all their shit.
Oh, yeah.
Not necessarily going to work out well for you, might work out well for, but better for somebody else at the table. But who knows? Eureka is just fun. I was staring at a Eureka the other day at work. I mean, not at work too, at that LGS. And work just gave me a bonus, but it's not a very good bonus. And also I fucking hate my job. So I should probably just save that bonus for when I walk out the door. I'll be able to buy groceries for a couple extra months. I could also just take it to purchase dividend paying stocks to generate cash flow instead of just purchasing cardboard. Yes, you may say the cardboard will potentially rise in price over time, potentially, but it doesn't generate cash flow. I don't get any of that extra money until I wait for years and it actually appreciates in price. I can benefit from the price appreciation, but only after I sell it. And I don't want to sell my cardboard anymore, Alex. I want to keep this cardboard. I want to die with the cardboard. Did you find the elf yet?
I found the elf, and I found a bonus elf for you. Found 2 1/1 trampling elves. First is Defiant Elf from Legions. What was it? Like,
just the name makes me laugh.
Oh.
Defiant
elf. He looks really creepy too. It's like a Jeepers Creepers man elf.
Okay. Tramplers, small tramplers are good in the pump.
He's going to get pumped.
People are like, who cares? Who even cares? You just played a 1/1 trampler. Who cares?
Yeah.
Turn 6, he's going to be pumped. Then they're going to care.
Next one, Llanowar Elite.
Is this like a 4 mana?
No, he's still 1/1. He's still a 1 drop, but he has a kicker. He has a big fat old kicker on him if you want.
Oh, Jesus. 8 mana.
Yeah. But you don't need that. It's still just a 1/1 trample.
Yeah, it's still just a 1/1. Kicker 8 colorless. You may pay an additional 8 colors as you play the spell Trample. If you paid the kicker cost, Llanowar Elite comes into play with 5+1/+1 counters on it. Okay. So you could pay 9 mana, and he'll be a 6/6 trampler. Not great. But I mean, I guess he's not bad for just a 1/1 trampler.
And if you want more than one of the Defiant Elf and you can't do it in Commander, you can put one of each of these guys in.
Yeah. What do you think's chasing after him?
Ooh. Maybe it's are they more guys on his side?
Probably, because they have the same type of staff.
Yeah.
So it's just his elite buddies.
Yeah.
Bringing up the rear. I thought maybe it was some kind of Minotaur thing, but this is just his hair flying in the wind.
Yeah, it looks kind of like a helmet or a horn, but it's bright hair.
Okay then. Interesting. Elf. I was thinking the other day, like, do I want to put more? Do I need more mana Smeechers?
Oh, I'm gonna make a s'mores deck.
Yeah, more black-white and artifacts.
Wait, what? What?
The s'mores decks would be black, white, and artifacts.
All right.
White, black, brown, like graham crackers, brown. What was I saying? What was I gonna say?
I thought you had gone back to what you were saying, and then you were
no.
I was like, wait, huh?
I was just thinking the other day, do I need to put like more small mana creatures, small casting cost creatures in the deck? So maybe
for your early turn,
those would be two decent ones to put in. Unexpected. People don't pay attention to the 1/1 trampler. Next minute. Anyways. Now we have cards to add to Alex's Old Man Magic Commander deck. This is also Alex's first ever Commander deck. It is also old frame only. It has no name.
I think I have a name for it. Hey, how about that?
Holy shit.
Yeah. I think I'm going to call it Group Mud, because since it's a variation on the group hug that's focused on slowing down and miring my enemies in combat with each other.
Okay.
Keep the mud out. Get everyone bogged down.
You gotta put a quicksand in there or something. Are there any? There's a mud card. I know this is too on the nose.
Card too.
I'm very on the nose. You say the word mud. I'm like, is there a card with the word mud in its name? You put that
in. Steve, you could be a little more subtle. Pick some dirt cards and some water cards.
Mud hole, Alex. It's one red, so it's only one. Do colorless, one red. It's a dwarf stuck in a mud hole. Instant. Target player removes all land cards in his or her graveyard from the game. Yeah, no thanks. Okay. Yeah, it's very underwhelming. That's a rare from Odyssey, by the way.
Why?
Don't know. I'm sure, when we start playing modern cards and I'm playing my Crucible of Worlds, I'm going to be really pissed when you sideboard in your mud hole. But
there was probably something in the format
then
where, like, I don't know, people did something where they sacrificed a bunch of lands and then like brought them all back or something. So they had this to stop that.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Alex's deck. Alex. It is no longer named Alex. This is the
segment. You should call it Mudhole.
This is the segment of the podcast where I try to remember how to change the name. Oh, that was easy. Group Mud. Excellent. Okay,
Mudhole. I like Mudhole.
Begin the 15 to 18 minute long review of your commander deck.
No, I'm ready. Oh God, no, I wasn't gonna do that. I wanted to make a defensive deck that makes my opponents want to keep me around or not attack me, basically, while they focus on each other. I wanted to play 5 colors, so I picked a 5-color commander, Corona False God, who also has a fits in with that theme because she hops around to the other people's side and maybe helps them occasionally. She might change too. There's another 5-color commander that I've looked at, but we'll see. This week I'm going to add a few. We talked a little bit about fog-like cards and spells that stop combat damage, so I'm just going to add a couple of them.
Yes, we did. I had a whole segment where I presented some fog spells for your consideration.
Yeah. My only question is, and maybe you can help me with this, is how many of these do I want in my deck?
You've had some time to consider.
Right now, I can add 4.
You've chosen your 4 favorite
fog
spells after deep consideration.
Yeah. I think I'm definitely going to add fog because green's my primary color.
Let's go with that. Start there. You want to add at least 2 fog spells today, Alex. It's a 100-card deck. How many fog spells do you think you want to play each game? I think you add 3 of the 4 at least.
Okay, all right.
But I can't remember how many fog spells you already have. Where is fog? Where did you go, buddy?
I'm pointing like you can see, but it's an instance above the soul.
It's right here. I see. Listen, when there's a new border card in front of me, it doesn't even register as a magic card. I'm staring right at it. It's literally in the middle of my screen. Switch printing to revised?
Sure. I'm going to have to go buy a unlimited fog now or something. Beta fog.
What, do you have a revised fog already? I'm sure you do, right?
Yeah, I'm revised fog. I'm going to go with darkness because it is a black fog.
You're putting this in your deck to honor your favorite Magic the Gathering artist, Howard McNeil. You collect all of his cards. You get them signed.
No.
You want the original Legends version?
Yeah.
Not true.
So here's where I hit my speed bump then. I think I'm going to go with what's Battle Hanukkah Jesus?
Constant Mists.
Huh?
I thought you were going to say Constant Mists. That's not Battle Harmonica Jesus. I don't know who Battle Harmonica Jesus is.
He's the one from Legends. Holy Day. Holy Day is what I meant.
Oh, okay.
What was the one you were saying? What mists?
Constant Mists. I thought you were going to go with Constant Mists. It's a more expensive one, but.
Oh, yeah, that's right. No, I'm not gonna. I don't think I'm gonna do constant mists.
It's repeatable, right? We talked about it. I remember
Yeah,
really
has a
liking it
buyback.
after we
you
discussed
sacrifice
it.
a land to buy it back. Plus, it's 2 mana instead of 1.
We have 2 old border options.
Oh, we're going with Hanukkah Battle Jesus.
Yeah, I can't not go with the legends. Okay, I get the Hanukkah Battle Jesus now.
And so,
Not the right number of candles, though.
no. Maybe combine they are?
No.
Squish them together? No. The other card is Festival. And I guess it's a not as good Holy Day.
It is.
Do you have any reason? I mean, do you see a reason to use Festival over Holy
I mean,
Day?
if you want fog spells, you got to use fog because, as we discussed, it is the OG.
It's the green fog.
And then you're like, if you're like, I want more fog spells, what do I do? Well, you can pick darkness because it is just a black fog. And then you're like, I need more fog spells. You can just pick Holy Day because it is a white darkness, which is a black fog. Festival is not really a fog, right? It's a limited ability. Am I not remembering correctly? I remember Festival not just being a white fog. I remember it being something a little bit different.
It stops the attack.
It's the fog without the trickery.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want
now.
that.
I guess maybe leave some room for other cards because I don't know how many 1 casting cost fog clone cards I need. I might even take out one more of them if I need to.
Probably enough.
I'll leave Festival out for now. Although I like the art because it's so weird.
Mm-hmm. Buy back, sacrifice a land. Creatures deal no combat damage this turn. Sacrifice a land, bring it back. Sacrifice a land, bring it back. I don't think so, Alex. I'm playing Mudhole. Good luck. Pentagram on his forehead?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Back in the days.
Yeah. Back in the good old days.
Yeah, back in the good old days. Anyways, Alex, I think that brings us to the end of. Does that bring us to the end of the Old Man Magic Commander Corner for the day?
I think we did it.
That brings us to the end of the Old Man Magic Commander Corner. It also brings us to the end of episode 38 of the Old Man Magic podcast. If you've listened this long, thank you. We really appreciate it. I don't have anything else to add for the day, Alex. I think I'm all podcasted out. We've podcasted hard this weekend because we tried to make up for the podcast we forgot to record the weekend.
Double down. Now our minds are shot.
We did it. But now, now my brain is jello. So, do you have anything you want to say to the listeners before we part?
Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being here, Steve.
Okay. Talk to you next week.
Peace.